With so many new units being available lately, this is one of the hardest treasure maps ever, so let's beat it without using the new units. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's One Piece Treasure Cruise video, we are going to do a preparation guide for the upcoming treasure map versus Momonosuke. So without further ado, let's jump straight to it. The first mini-boss is by far the easiest one, it is Side Chopper. We are going to use the last treasure map unit as double captain, that is Capone of course, who deals with majority of the debuffs. He will remove bind, block slots and paralysis slots, but will also provide us with an orb boost. And then we just need to deal with the chain coefficient reduction and the threshold. So we have treasure map Big Mom here to reduce threshold by 5 turns, but the threshold is 6 on the boss, so I have limited recruit Perospero support on here. If you don't have Perospero, you can use another unit to reduce threshold alongside Big Mom for that one extra turn. Because our captain is driven, Big Mom will also provide us with a 3.5 times chain lock to deal with the chain coefficient reduction. So the combination of Big Mom and Perospero deals with the rest of the debuffs, the ones that Bez cannot deal with, and everyone else is simply here because they have color advantage or they can increase damage. You can replace the other 3 units with whatever you please. Just have in mind that Bez only boosts shooter and driven characters as a captain, and you have the ability to use another friend captain to give you a higher point boosting multiplier, but with this specific team and double Bez, we have a point multiplier of around 5.26 times. The next mini-boss is Int Ulti, who we need to beat in 2 turns simply because she will limit us to 50% damage, so 50% in turn 1 and 50% in turn 2. But the funny thing here, and by the way this is a common occurrence in this treasure map quote-unquote guide, it does not specify if there are any turn 1 mechanics from the boss. Because if Ulti cannot be beaten immediately, that means if she has more mechanics and applies more debuffs in turn 1 after the first attack, then we also need to know about them to preemptively build a team to deal with them. We cannot do that. So if Ulti has more mechanics, we need to adjust the team. But with what we know so far, this is my team. Double Carrot Wanda as captains, you can also use another friend captain for a higher point multiplier or other utility and damage if you feel like you need it, but the reason I'm using Carrot Wanda as captains, first of all they can provide us with a lot of damage, an attack boost with their super swap and an orb boost, and as a captain in their dual form, so after we activate their special, they provide end of turn damage which can help us deal with resilience. And of course, also very important is that they can provide all of our crewmates with their specials back. By the way, you don't really need to have Carrot Wanda, you can also use them as friend captains, in case you miss the unit, and use Bone Clay as captain, Treasure Map Legend Sanji, or generally someone that fits the team and can provide you with either utility or more damage. For the rest of the debuffs, I'm actually using the new free-to-play Sai Straw Hat Jinbe, mainly because he is boosted by 1.35 times. But he can also remove Ship Bind. It is not that important though, but he can still do it, and he can also make some type slots beneficial for us for 3 turns, which can help with our slots in turn 2. Then the bottom row units both deal with defense up. We have 8 turns and unfortunately Ulti has immunity, meaning the defense down from Carrot Wanda's special cannot be applied. So we need to remove the defense up. Raid Bonnie here removes it for 5 turns, or reduces it rather in this situation, and also provides us with a full board of guaranteed RCV matching slots. And then Hyogoro can remove 6 turns of defense up, meaning alongside Bonnie they completely remove it. And the interesting thing with Hyogoro and Carrot Wanda as captain here, if you have the unit, is that if you enter as Carrot, you super swap to Wanda, then you have a Dex captain. If you activate Bone Clay, he gives you a boost in base attack. Then if you activate Hyogoro after to reduce defense up, he will also increase the duration of the base attack boost Bone Clay provided us with, meaning we can use it in both turn 1 and turn 2 to have more damage and defeat Ulti easier. Of course, if your captain is not Dex or Int, and Hyogoro would not extend Bone Clay's base attack boost, I would replace Bone Clay with another damage booster that can help, and I would also get some damage boosting from my captain or the Jinbe replacement if you don't really care about the ship bind. This team with double Carrot Wanda has a multiplier of 4.35 times. The next miniboss is Strength Jack, and he is built around the new Pirate King Adventures free-to-play unit, Roger. For him to work properly though, you need him as captain, and you also need his triple special activation limit break ability maxed out. So if you haven't maxed him out yet, whenever you're feeding his copies to him, just make certain you max out that ability first. Roger can deal with all of the bind shenanigans going on here, and of course you also need to have maximum bind sockets for everything to work properly. Your crewmates will be binded for 5 turns, sockets and 1 Roger activation deals with it. Then you will be interrupted and binded again, sockets and Roger second special activation deals with it again. And then we need to deal with the rest of the debuffs before the revive. So to deal with attack down, we have Treasure Map Legend Hina. To deal with the chain coefficient reduction, we have Treasure Map Fujitora. To deal with the burn, I am having to use Treasure Map Rare Recruit Lucci to deal with 5 turns of it. Essentially we need to deal with the burn because it is quite a lot of damage per perfect, 10,000, and Jack revives, so the burn actually will apply and deal damage to us. But because 5 turns from Lucci are not enough, I will also use Rare Recruit Crocus support on Roger, so when we activate Roger, inevitably, Crocus will also activate a reducing burn, and alongside Lucci they can completely remove it. Lucci now can also reduce 5 turns of attack down, so if you do not have Hina, you can replace her with another attack down remover because you need that 1 extra turn of removal. Since attack down is not 5 turns, it is 6. So instead of replacing Hina with another attack down remover, and you do have Lucci, you can also, if possible, use a support to remove the 1 turn of attack down, and then replace Hina with whatever you want. If you want to replace Lucci, you will of course need a burn remover, and if you miss both Hina and Lucci, then you need to deal with attack down and burn with the combination of these 2 units and further supports if possible. Have in mind though, if you cannot deal with both debuffs, attack down is 100% your priority, and then while you are attacking, you can hit only a couple of perfects, then some greats to of course survive, but you can at the same time take some burn damage, it won't be the end of the world. So focus to remove attack down if you miss both Hina and Lucci. Now for the final unit I have on this team, Leonero and Ganryu, they are essentially here to help us with damage after Jack's revive, because they provide a 3-turn attack boost, so we will have it available after Jack's revive as well, which is at a set 1.6 million HP, not a lot, we can easily deal with it. After the revive, bind will also happen again, so we will need to activate another Roger special, but of course if you want, you can also use Luffy Yamato as a friend captain here to deal with the bind whenever it appears immediately, but if you want to use them in another boss, Double Roger works 100%. With Double Roger actually, the multiplier of this team is around 4.51 times. The next mini-boss, or should I say the first main boss, is Sai Marco, and I am saying main boss because there is a stage 2 and a stage 3, just like there is in the main boss versus the Marco battle. We have gotten so many new units lately that Bandai decided to actually make this treasure map from now onwards so hard with so many mechanics because we have so many new legends that the players want to use. But the thing is, not every player has every legend. So we are going to work around it and use a full free-to-play team. We are going to use 6+ Shanks crew as captain, and the friend captain needs to be the new Blitz Battle Reward free-to-play unit Int Kaido. You need to have that unit. The team won't work with double Shanks crew, but you can swap the places of the units, so if you don't have Shanks crew for example, for whatever reason you did not get them in the Pirate Rumble, or you don't have their Super Evolution, you can use the Blitz Kaido as captain and Shanks crew as a friend captain. Let me now go over every single unit and I will tell you how they are going to work and when you need to activate their special, so you can understand the team properly. Shanks crew boosts everyone will give us a chain lock for both stages. We will activate them in stage 2. They will deal with resilience because of the end of turn damage coming from their captain ability in stage 3, and they will completely remove the special bind when applied in the preemptive of battle 3. We want to enter on Shanks, super swap to the Q side so we can also get a boost in our base attack in stage 2 for a super easy time. Being on the Q side will also help Reiju provide us with a conditional attack boost in both stages, and Reiju is important for stage 2 to remove damage reduction completely, so we activate her there. We also need int castard support on Reiju to lock our int character slots, and we do that because of Kaido. We will also activate our Blitz Kaido in stage 2. He will give us an attack boost and an ore boost for specific units, but that is not the important part. He will apply some hits on the hit barrier so we can penetrate it easier and defeat the mini-boss, and he will also gain a Wano slot. Castard will lock our slots. She will also lock Kaido's slot. In the final stage, Marco will provide us with block slots. If we manipulate them, he has an interruption which we do not want to happen. But he cannot manipulate the Wano slot to a block slot, meaning Kaido will maintain his Wano slot in the final stage even after Marco's preemptive. We are not going to get the full board of matching slots, but we will give Kaido enough damage with the Wano slot to one-shot Marco. That's the plan, so you need Castard or a way to lock Kaido's slot. Then for stage 2, we are also going to use Arena Sasaki. He needs to be activated twice and alongside maximum despair sockets. He will completely remove despair and attack down while also increasing our stage 2 damage. By the way, it is optional to use a color affinity boosting support for Kaido in the final stage. I am using Legend Moria. Obviously that doesn't make the team a fully free-to-play team. You don't need him though, so you can use Rare Recruit Towel Nami, who can also provide a color affinity boost, or just don't use a color affinity boosting support at all if you don't have any. And for the bottom row units, we have 6+ Bartolomeo and Cavendish. They will remove Threshold completely in the final stage and give Kaido an attack boost. And then Summer Ray Jinbe will need to be activated twice, so you need his double special activation in the final stage to remove the paralysis from our captains completely and also reduce the opponent's defense to 0 since there is no defense down immunity. And that is the full team explanation, and of course we can deal with everything except block slots because we are counting on that big Kaido hit in the end of the final stage. This team has a multiplier of 4.33 times. For the final boss, we have Queen and he will be Q. Do not freak out, I know I am using the new Jinbe Rare Recruit here. Don't worry, I have an exact replacement and an alternative team, but let me real quick explain this one since I was lucky enough to pull Jinbe. Free to play 5+ Luffy as captain, and the friend captain needs to be the new Super Sugofest Sanji. Luffy is not fully level limit broken, so it's fine if you don't have him either. Let's begin with stage number 2. You need to have Yamato in the middle row so she can evade bind, and then we will activate her to not only remove bind, we will remove bind of course because we will have maximum bind sockets, -3 turns. Halloween Ace support of course is mandatory on Treasure Map Sabo. To remove 3 more turns, and then 3 are remaining, we activate Yamato, bind is gone, and she can also resist special rewind, and when we activate her, she will also give everyone else their specials back. She will also increase our chain growth. Then, to remove Threshold, we are going to activate the new Jinbe. He will also make all of the right column slots matching, and he will give us an attack boost for Strength, Dex, and Q characters for 3 turns, meaning we can also have it available in the final stage. I don't think it will be necessary, but if you feel like you need more matching slots, you can either hit with color advantage in stage 1, so Sanji can give you matching slots with his captain ability, or you can activate Luffy's super type in stage 2. Of course, I did not forget about the poison slots, but Marco will deal with those and poison all together in the final stage, We will preserve his special for the final stage because he can provide very good healing and a damage reduction shield for us to survive the after defeat damage Queen will actually do. I think doing that will be fine for stage 2. I think we will have enough damage, and maybe we need to move Marco in the middle row instead of Sabo, so he has the potential to get a matching slot and not a poison slot, but that will depend on the color of the stage 2 enemy, which is unknown as of now. That is it for stage 2, Yamato, Jinbe and perhaps the Luffy super type if necessary. In the final stage now, Sanji's special, our friend captain's, comes first. He will deal with defense up, block slots, and he will also, of course, give us boosting. He will help us with the chain debuff by giving us chain boundaries. His super class can give us a chain boost, and he can also provide us with a base attack boost. After Sanji, we want to activate Luffy, and he can provide an attack boost, which is interruptible, but have in mind, we activated Jinbe in stage 2, we still have his attack boost. So Luffy won't apply an attack boost, meaning the interruption will never happen. The only reason we want Luffy as our captain is to, of course, boost all of our characters, but to also activate Valentine Nami when we activate Luffy, so she can reduce 2 turns of despair. 2 turns from her, 3 turns from Sockets, and 3 turns from the much needed V2 Whitebeard support on Marco to completely deal with despair. After Luffy, we are ready to activate Marco, because now he can deal with all of the poison stuff, give us a damage reduction shield, his base attack boost won't apply because we have Sanji's, and we want Sanji's because it is higher and better than Marco's, and because the despair is gone from our captains now after the Luffy activation, he can also give us healing, which can go overheal because of Sanji's captain ability. That, alongside the damage reduction shield, I believe will be enough to help us survive the after defeat damage. Of course, as everything apparently in this treasure map, Queen revives at 30% of his original HP. We haven't activated one special for a reason, that is Sabo's. The reason for that is because the chain debuff is for 2 turns, activating Sanji helps us in the first turn, so we need something of a chain buff, either a chain lock or chain boundaries in the second turn to deal with the chain debuff again and help us, of course, defeat Queen again. Sabo is the man to do that. He will also provide adjacent matching slots, meaning Yamato and Marco will have a guaranteed matching slot, even though they did not attack with color advantage because it's not possible, and all of our Dex units will also have a guaranteed matching slot because of Sanji's captain ability and because they are Dex and Queen is Q and they have color advantage over him. And I think that pretty much covers everything about this team, so let me now show you the alternative team for the final boss in case you do not have Jinbe or even Halloween Ace support. Here it is. It is the exact same team with 2 replacements. We are going to replace both Halloween Ace and Jinbe with Treasure Map Rare Recruit Enel, who needs to be in the middle row. He will provide 3 turns of bind removal and threshold removal in, of course, stage 2. And then we also need to replace Valentine Nami support with Time Skip Sanji support, because we don't get the Jinbe attack boost for 3 turns anymore, meaning we cannot activate Luffy in the final stage because he will give us an attack boost which will activate the interruption. We don't want that, and because Nami needs her supported character to activate their special, we cannot use her. We are going to use Time Skip Sanji instead, who does the same job, we just don't need to activate Luffy in the final stage. Which also means you can activate Luffy freely in stage 2 to help you with an attack boost on just himself, just a slight increase on damage. Everything else remains the same, just make certain you have the bind removers in the middle row, and you also have the supports and maximum despair, but also bind sockets. The point multiplier of my original team with Jinbe is 8.12 times, while for this team with Enel instead, it is 6.50. Finally, for the Intrusion Battle versus Momonosuke, again there is a revive and they don't provide any extra information on mechanics after the revive, not the revive mechanics themselves, but possibly the turn 1 mechanics of the actual boss. So, based on the One Piece Treasure Cruise Treasure Map Planner, for turn 1, the final boss gives 5 turns of no heal and 5 turns of ship bind, so we lose our ship. Have that in mind. And also there is apparently a stage 2 mini-boss, where it has 1 turn of a damage nullification shield, and then turn 1, if you want to stall the damage nullification shield, the mini-boss gains 3 turns of damage reduction, provides slot bind and no healing debuff on our crew, we don't know for how many turns, and it also gains 2 turns of a 2 hit barrier. And on defeat, it provides 9 turns of paralysis on the captain and 9 turns of slot bind on the captain as well. I will have the link of the treasure map planner in the description in case you want to see everything for yourself. I don't know if this is accurate or not. I guess we will learn on the day of the treasure map because Bandai does not know how to make guides. Now let's talk about what we know. This is my team, and I have actually taken into account everything I also told you just to be safe. Team works either way. In stage 2, we stall the damage nullification shield if it exists, and then we activate Samurai Jinbe in turn 2 once, so we can remove the damage reduction shield and then beat the mini-boss as soon as possible. Of course, on defeat, our captain will be slot binded and paralyzed for 9 turns. The slot bind we cannot deal with, whatever. The paralysis we can though. So in stage 3, we activate Samurai Jinbe for the second time. He reduces paralysis by 3 turns and reduces the opponent's defense to 0, which will deal with defense up. Of course, there is no defense down immunity, so we are allowed to do that, but have in mind you have 1 turn to beat stage 3, because after that, defense will be full again and we have no way of removing it or reducing it again. Then we will activate Treasure Map Bez to deal with the rest of the Captain Paralysis if it exists, and we will also get an ore boost for him, Bartolomeo Cavendish and Blackbeard. And then we want to activate Bartolomeo Cavendish, so we remove the 6 turns of threshold completely and get an attack boost for our driven units. So we have an ore boost and an attack boost for driven units. Have that in mind, not for Sanji, Jinbe or Carrot Wanda. Also worthy to mention for your damage, Jinbe is the only unit in the entire team that is fully boosted. Carrot Wanda is not boosted at all and everyone else is only half boosted. Also, our ship does not provide an attack boost. We are going to use the Dreadnought Saber, the Don Krieg ship, so we can get end of turn damage in stage 3 and deal with resilience, allowing us to proceed in the final stage. Hopefully we can have enough damage here. If not, super swapping Bartolomeo to Cavendish might also be necessary. By the way, for the dual units we need to enter on the dex side because Q units are not getting special cooldown reduction. For the final stage now, we get special rivers only on the crewmates and Carrot Wanda can resist it. Every other crewmate has been used, so we do not care about the special rivers. Our captains do not get it, so we want to activate Sanji, his special and super class ability. He will give us the full board of matching slots through block slots. He will of course allow us to have RCV slots to penetrate the barrier. He will also remove damage reduction completely, and then increase our damage by giving us a base attack boost, chain boundaries, and a chain boost from his super class, which we have access to because of Jinbe. Then because some of our attacks will be wasted on the barrier, which is not a big deal because Carrot Wanda is not boosted, our int units don't have color advantage and they are also half boosted. We will definitely start with them, but to increase our damage even further, we will super swap Wanda to Carrot to get an attack boost for everyone. We beat Kaido and then he revives. So the turn 1 mechanics are not really impactful because the ship we have does not provide an attack boost anyway, so we don't lose damage, it's whatever, we don't need the end of turn damage anymore after stage 3, but we get 8 turns of bind in our left column. Activating Blackbeard will deal with that and will also provide us with chain boundaries, and then we get limited to 3 taps while Kaido will revive to 4 million HP. Now we want to of course activate Carrot Wanda to get the ore boost, mainly for our dex units who guaranteed will have a matching slot because they will attack with color advantage before the revive, and Sanji's captain ability will guarantee them a matching RCV slot. That goes for Sanji, Jinbe and Barto Cavendish if we are on the dex side of the unit. If we need to super swap in the previous stage, we are going to be on the Q side, but it's still fine because we can swap them again to Bartolomeo and guarantee a matching slot. Then we have 3 tabs, we attack with those dex units, and hopefully we beat Kaido. Based on my calculations, damage should be enough. We also have all of the stat boosting, since they are all boosted units in this team. But for replacements, I don't have any for you guys, because this is an extremely strict and specific team. Its multiplier though, it is 7.02 times. And that concludes my preparation guide for the upcoming 9th anniversary treasure map versus Momonosuke. A very hard treasure map, that's for certain, especially without new units. The only one I have is Jinbe anyway, so it's not like I have a choice, I can't use the new units anyway. But hopefully you found the video helpful. As always, thank you so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.